Hi folks, welcome to this week's Sunday Catechism. I recorded this earlier, but it was in a mirror, so it just showed the back of my bald head, which is just awful. But we are looking at the moral law. We are looking at the 10 Commandments, and we are on the third commandment, which, just to remind you, is you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. And we're on to, in this book, we're on to question 54, and let me read it to you. What is required in the third commandment? The third commandment requires the holy and reverent use of God's names, titles, attributes, ordinances, word, and works. The third commandment requires the holy and reverent use of God's names, titles, attributes, ordinances, word, and works. That is how we speak about God. And the name of God is really important. And it is tied up with his word. It is tied up with what he does, his commands, and everything else. So, Matthew 6:9, pray, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. It's that important. Deuteronomy 28:58, that you may do all the works of the law that are written in this book, that you may fear the glorious and fearful name of the Lord your God. Psalm 68 verse 4, sing to God, sing praises to his name. Revelation 15, 4, who shall not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name. Malachi 1:11, from the rising of the sun even to the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. Psalm 138, you have magnified your word above all your name. And Job 36:24, remember that you magnify God's work. Now, I think that is hugely significant and hugely important in lots of ways, because we do tend to take these things lightly. So I've been reading this from Thomas Watson. Sorry, let me take this down. I wrote up some notes from Thomas Watson on the 10 Commandments, which is always worth looking at. And I'll just share some of them with you this week and some of them with you next week and the following week as we continue to look at this. But he gives a whole series of how we take God's name in vain. And he says we take God's name in vain when we speak slightly and irreverently of his name. We take God's name in vain when we profess God's name, but we do not live answerably to it. Titus 1:16, they profess that they know God, but in works they deny him. So we profess the name of Christ, we profess to be Christians, but we behave in a way which causes the name of Christ to be blasphemed. He then adds, we take God's name in vain when we use God's name in idle discourse. He is not to be spoken of, but with a holy awe upon our hearts. To bring his name in at every turn when we are not thinking of him, to say, O God, or O Jesus, is to take God's name in vain. How many are guilty here? Though they have God in their mouths, they have the devil in their hearts. It is a wonder that fire does not come out from the Lord to consume them, as it did Nadab and Abihu. Though they have God in their mouths, they have the devil in their hearts. Not using God's name in idle discourse. We take God's name in vain when we worship him with our lips, but not with our hearts. God calls for the heart. My son, give me your heart. Proverbs 23:26. So I enjoyed our worship this morning at the church. For us, I thought the singing was not bad. Sometimes I find my heart is in the wrong place. I find it difficult. And I don't know how far you want to take this, but for me, I don't know if I could or should sing the name of God without fear and love in my heart, without being aware of what is happening. Whether speaking or preaching or praying or singing, using the name of God lightly is not to be taken lightly. So I'm very conscious of how convicting and how challenging in this, and I pray that God would glorify his name and that he would forgive me for any times that I have betrayed that name, or I have spoken lightly of that name, or I have misused or even abused the beautiful name of Christ. All right, we shall see you next week. I mean, I am just, one of the great things about the name, by the way, that it's in the name of Jesus that we are forgiven. So, God bless you, and we shall see you next week as we continue to look at this third commandment and its surprisingly profound and deep implications. Bye.